What is going on, Blossoms back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today, please join me on a very light-hearted video. This one's just a little bit for fun. Welcome to Top Drives 10 to 100, ugliest pictures per RQ. Now, I think the first ever episode of Top 10 to 100 wasn't even, or RQ10 to 100, wasn't even the country series that I've been doing with this series. It was the nicest cars. So I feel like if I'm going to do the nicest cars, I got to do the ugliest cars, or the ugliest pictures, nicest pictures and ugliest pictures. So today, I want to show you what, in my opinion, I think are the worst looking cars per every RQ. Now, I think not a lot of people might join me on this, but if you want to comment below and type your, 90 or so cars that you think are the ugliest, go ahead, man. But I think the only person that would actually go that far to do that would be Lexus LFA. But anyway, let's get into it. The Peugeot 402 Darmart starts us off. I think it's a little poetic that we're gonna start off the ugliest picture series with a Peugeot. White background, and that's really just about it. Usually when I think what comes to an ugly car is really just, the background. Maybe the quality of the image isn't, what you want to say HD. It's like more 144p. Maybe the car itself is just really ugly. I don't like the car. Maybe I just don't like the colors, or I don't like the background. There are just a bunch of little things that make me hate the car. And here's one thing that I want to talk about. Okay, Hutch, if you're watching this, the quality of how the car looks really affects the decision of a player if they want to keep the car or not. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm absolutely serious. If the car has a nicer picture, the car has a higher chance of not getting sold and being kept in a garage. And we'll see this when it comes to the ultra rares later, because there are a lot of ultra rares that I literally don't collect because their pictures are freaking atrocious. Okay, so for RQ11, it's gonna be the Citroen AMI Super, or AMI Super, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it AMI because it just feels right, even though it's probably wrong. The Citroen, it really just looks like an oil painting. It looks like an oil painting, and then it was taken with, a really shitty camera. Like, it has 144p quality. Don't like it, and I don't like the color of the Citroen itself as well. I don't like yellowish, and that's like a yellowish brown. Like, you can't even complain that, oh, this picture was taken in the 70s, and that's why it has this kind of, photo quality. I mean, this picture was taken in the 30s, and look at the quality of this. I mean, it's a 1930s car, so obviously it was taken in the 30s. I'm joking, but seriously though, like, that's a car done right. The 1930s car is a car done right. Also, the next thing that I want to do is probably show you, like, the entire list once I go through the entire thing. So for RQ12, where is the RQ12 car selected? It is the Vauxhall Astra 1.2. You can't see the car over here. A lot of these pictures are going to fall under the worst in their RQ. It's basically when you can't see the front or you can't see the back. Like, what is this even? Like, this is like a wheel and a half of a picture. Not a good picture, does not do the car justice. Another thing that I want to talk about when I talk about the ugliest cars is usually, like, if the car itself is actually really beautiful, but the picture doesn't do it justice. You know what I mean? I'll show you examples when we move on the list. Moving on now with RQ13 is going to be the Honda EV Plus. Once again, you can't see the back, you can't see the front. What are you even seeing? It's a car game, but all I see is a wheel and a door. RQ14, the winner for RQ14, the ugliest picture in my opinion. Where is it? Because I made this wish list a while ago, so I might have forgotten. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the Austin Maxi. So black and white picture, right? No color. It's not HD. You can't see the front, you can't see the back, you can't even see the rear tires, for crying out loud. This is a horrendous picture. The funny thing is, all these commons that get the worst picture, they're all really small cars, in right, but like, they still, I don't know why Hutch wants to zoom in so much. That's another thing I hate about these zoomed in pictures. They make the car look a lot bigger than they actually are, and it's kind of like a situation where, oh, because the picture looks so big, because the car can't fit in the picture, you might assume that the car in real life is actually huge. And usually when you assume big cars, you think big weight, and then you don't want to use the car because you think it's heavy and you don't want to use it in certain situations. I don't know, that might just be me, but it's kind of like food, you eat with your eyes first. And it's the same thing with if I want to collect a car, I judge with my eyes first. The Nissan Micra takes RQ15. It's, a really boring picture, and once again, you can't really see the beauty of the car itself. It's not the worst that we've seen in general, but I think it's pretty bad. I think some people might say that the Cadillac Eldorado Eldorado might be the worst, and I can see that as well because it kind of fits in the category of, oh, I can't see the front, I can't see the back, it's black and white. But something about it just, okay, first of all, white walls are freaking cool, and there are white walls in this, and you can see both of them. And the second thing is that the Cadillac Eldorado, although it obviously isn't chrome, it looks like it's chrome. It looks like it's a DeLorean. There's a sheen to it. There's a shine to it as well. So because of that, I'm not going to choose a Cadillac Eldorado because I do like the colors and they do contrast each other very, very well. But if you think that's the worst for RQ15, I can definitely see your point as well. RQ16, the worst picture is going to go, where is it? I think I was initially going to choose the Fiat 126, but I ended up settling on something else. Overshot this one. The Fiat Cinquecento Sporting. Once again, it's a car in motion, which is amazing. I love cars in motion, you know, pictures like that usually don't fail. But if you can't see the front or the back or just the car in general, this thing just looks like, you know, it looks like a phone booth in the UK. It's just red and small and shiny, and that's about it. Moving on to RQ17, the worst picture is going to go to the Volkswagen New Beetle. This one, the angle is pretty cool, but that's about it. The Volkswagen Beetle is one of the ugliest cars of all time in my opinion, and I cannot stand the look of it. So definitely it's gonna win the worst RQ17 in my opinion. Moving on to RQ18 now, the winner, I think the ugliest picture. Now it would be easier, oh yeah, this one, the Mazda Carol. This is the perfect example of making a small car look a lot heavier than it actually is. Why is this so zoomed in? The Mazda Carol is such a tiny car in real life. Why does it only show one headlight and one wheel? This is a horrendous picture, am I right? Like, they need a better picture for this. This can be, you know, the Mazda Carol has potential of being a really, really, you know, nice looking car because it's a really cute car and it's pink, which is unique. But why? Why does this look like it's more zoomed in? I know SUVs, four-wheel drives, that are cropped so much better than the Carol. Like, the Carol looks so big and so heavy in this, but in reality it's only 580 kilograms, which is insane. The worst RQ19 as well is also gonna go to, now RQ19, I think their pictures are pretty decent for the most part, but the worst one in my opinion went to the Peugeot 307. I hate the wheels on this. The wheel design is really, really boring. I don't like the color, the jade green, and you can't see the front of the car, and you can only see half of the back. So now moving on to uncommons, let's see what are the worst for RQ20 to 29. Once again, if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below. This is just a fun little video, and this is my opinion as well. Now the worst RQ20 looking car is going to be the Chrysler Sebring. Once again, I'm an American collector, but there's a reason why I haven't collected this car. Is because the picture is really, really bad. Can't see the front, can't see the back. It doesn't really help that the Chrysler Sebring in real life is already a pretty ugly car. So honestly, like, if I was in the design team for making the cards, I would really make the ugliest cars in the game stand out as much as possible, because, you know, you want nice backgrounds, you want a nice crop, because the car itself isn't going to do you too much justice, because the Sebring itself is already a really ugly car. 21 is going to go to the Volkswagen Passat. Black and white background. I mean, I do like the color of the car, and you can see the entire back, but you can't see the front, so the crop isn't very good. Also, the pictures in 21 are pretty decent, so the Volkswagen Passat will take the worst one over there. Like, this one's black and white, yeah, but you can see the you can see the car, and I like the two-tone, even though it doesn't even have the two-tone tag. Moving on to RQ22, we're gonna move on with all the 21s over here. 22, it's gonna go to, it might be a little faster, I would say, if I just, like, you know, did the entire list without showing all the cars in the entire game. The Chrysler d'Elegance. The irony in this, man, because I don't think this is a good looking car. I love the wheels, but that's as much as I can say about it. It's a horrible picture, black and white, and the crop is just so bad. Like, the Elegance is one of those cars where I think it's nicer if you looked at it from the back, but they chose to have a front profile picture with this, which doesn't really do the car justice. I don't think the front of the d'Elegance is really that nice at all. Moving on to RQ23 is going to be the MG Metro Turbo. Much like the Mazda Carol, it makes the car look a lot heavier than it actually is. You can only see one wheel. I mean, technically, I guess you can see 2.5, or maybe 1.5 maybe, because you can't see the two full wheels over here, but you can't see the car in its entirety. And the thing is, the MG Metro Turbo is so freaking small. There are so many pictures where you can fit. I don't know why. If it's intentional for Hutch to have uglier pictures for some cars and nicer pictures for others to make the nicer cars stand out even more. I don't know if that's what they want to go with, but yeah, the Citroen C5 Saloon, this one doesn't even look like it's a real car. It looks like a render on a computer or something, and not a really good render at that, a really boring render. Black and white white background, and you know, it's a really boring picture in my opinion, so not a fan. The crop is decent, but it doesn't even look like it's a picture of a real actual car, if you know what I mean. Now I think we move on to RQ26, I believe, because there are a lot of 25s in the game, so we have to scroll through that a lot. 26, what did I choose for 26? Oh yes, the Alfa Romeo Alfetta GTV. Once again, I was just really zoomed in, and 26, I have to say, you know, they got some pretty nice looking cars, pretty nice looking pictures at least. So, you know, the Alfetta isn't the worst picture in the game, but there's some pretty nice bangers over here, like the Escort. Look at the crop in this, absolutely amazing. The Stillo, I love the picture in motion, and at least you get to see the majority of the front, so it's a pretty nice picture, and I love, you know, the blur in the background as well. The Stutter, I think that's what it's called. RQ27, the Maserati 5000 is a pretty bad picture, but it didn't take the winning medal for that. Who took 27? The worst RQ27 picture goes to, of course, the Rover 623. I can't see the car at all. You see the headlight and you see a wheel, and that's a pretty ugly wheel design as well, or rim design. Moving on to RQ28 now, the worst. Oh, and I know for a fact that RQ29 actually has some banger pictures, so RQ29 was pretty hard to select like the worst picture in the game for its RQ. But yeah, the Cadillac Alante takes RQ28. This is one of the examples of what I'm saying, is that the actual car in real life is actually really beautiful. I have a Matchbox of the Cadillac Alante, and it was one of my favorite Matchboxes of all time. This is a really beautiful looking car, but the crop of this and the positioning of this as well. Why is the car so freaking low? Like, half of the car doesn't even have the car on it, you know? It's just a tree and some white random wall. Like, what's up with that, man? What's up with that? Okay, RQ29, bangers, I would say. A lot of banger pictures here. The worst one I'm actually going to give it to is the Honda CRX, mainly because, once again, much like the Cadillac, you don't even get the car for half of the car. You just see like a diner, it looks like, and the crop isn't the best thing in the world as well. Alright, and now let's move on to rares. The first one is going to be the Honda Kappa 4-wheel drive. Black and white background. I do like the angle of this, so I'll give it some positivity, but once again, you can't really see the car, you can't see the front, and you see half of the back. RQ30 is another one of those RQs with some pretty nice pictures, I would say. The Ford Escort, absolute banger in this one, along with the Ford Maya as well. I do love the colors in this. Now, moving on now to RQ31, the worst picture is going to go to the Volvo 963.0. Really boring background, and you can't really see the entire car. At least, you know, props to Hutch, you can see the front of it, but they could have definitely fit the entire car in this picture. I don't know why they didn't do that. Moving on now to RQ32. Oh, and I have to say though, the Fiat Punto HGT takes a shout out, because that's a pretty freaking ugly picture as well, making a car look a lot bigger than it actually is. Now, moving on to RQ32, the worst picture is going to go to the Pontiac GTO Judge. Much like the Cadillac Alante, the Pontiac GTO is a really beautiful car in real life. It is called the Judge for a reason, and I'm really disappointed that this was the picture they decided to go with. Not only did they not choose this car in its perfect color of orange, they gave it a really boring background picture. The angle is cool, but you can't see it. You can't see the front of the car, you can't see the back of the car. This is a really, really nice car, man. If they zoomed out a little bit, that would have been an amazing picture. I'm so sad. It's a bit of a waste, honestly, because if you could see the entire car here, especially since I'm a massive muscle car fan, that would have been one of the nicest pictures for the rares. But unfortunately, they messed it up. Alright guys, now I'm transitioning to just the entire wish list in general, mainly because it's just a lot faster to locate the car. So RQ34 is going to go to the Bentley Mulsanne Turbo. Once again, it's a really beautiful car in real life. I'm actually a huge fan of older Bentleys. They look really elegant, they have a lot of presence in their design, they're really big, but my goodness, man, they just didn't do the car justice. You can't even, at least some of the cars where you can't see the front and the back, you can at least see one headlight. You can't even see the headlight here. It's so sad. And once again, black and white picture, really sad. Same thing for the Jaguar XJ12. It looks like this is a model car. You know, it looks like it was taken in someone's living room, because the background, I mean, the floor looks like a carpet. You know what I mean? So, just really unfortunate as well. The Honda Prelude is a really cool car in real life. It has pop-up headlights. But once again, you're really only seeing two wheels over here. Don't get me wrong. This is one of the nicest pictures in the game. But of course, It's tradition in this series. I gotta have the Charger in all of my wish lists, okay? Because this is a car that I always want at any time, at any hour, at any second. But it's a beautiful picture. The worst 39 is the Volvo 850 T5R, and 38 and 37 goes to the Maserati and the Mondeo. Both of them are butt pictures, black and white. Well, not really black and white, just, you know, no background, so very boring background. Once again, the Ford Mondeo ST200, something in the wheels just don't look real to me. I don't know why. It just looks like a model car. I know this one's probably real because of the car plate, but like the Mondeo is just a really ugly picture, not gonna lie. RQ40 is gonna go to the Hummer H2 SUV. You can't see the front, you can't see the back. This one I'll give it a little bit of reasoning. It's a really big car, so maybe it can't fit. At least it fits in the narrative that the Hummer H2 SUV is a massive car. But once again, man, they should have done a front profile only or a back profile, something like one of those TVR Griffiths have, you know what I mean? The Volkswagen Atlas takes 41. I hate this car, so it has to be in here. That being said, the Project 8 is actually not in this because the Project 8, props, man, it actually has a nice picture. Renault Sport Clio 172, really boring picture, white, black background, you know, plain background, with almost the same color that the car as well. It's a, you know, it's a white silverish car of a white silverish background, very monotone, very boring, even though it's not black and white. The Cadillac SRX, I mean, you can't really see the true car, the full car in this image. It's just the back, and it's not a really nice looking back as well. The Subaru XV GT, there's a reason why I've been ignoring this car for so long. This had the Summer Games tag, and I've probably unpacked this car 4 or 5 times already, and maybe even more than that from just my 1 mil pack openings. But it's just a really boring picture. Now this one, I feel like it's a little bit too high. I'm seeing too much ground in the bottom. It looks like it's floating a little bit. It's zoomed in way too much. It looks like a render. I don't like this picture at all. No background as well. 45. Now, a lot of people will know this, especially if you're an OG to the channel. I think that the Renault Sport Clio V6 is one of the ugliest cars in real life. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me because I met a lot of fans that actually like this car. You know, it's mid-engine, it's cool, whatever. I don't know. I don't like French cars, and I think this is one of the ugliest cars ever. This car genuinely gives me nightmares. I don't know why. Something about its face gives me nightmares. I don't know why. It just does. Moving on, RQ46. This is, I mean, the quality of this image is absolutely horrendous. I don't know what this is, man. Half of this car is just black. That's exactly what it is. It actually kind of looks like a banana peel, to be honest. It's very sharp in the front as well. It's a really interesting picture, but it's definitely not nice. The Audi S6, I mean, once again, you're seeing a wheel, and I guess you get to see the majority of the front, but it's just way too zoomed in, man. You can't even see like the back door or even the rear wheels. It's at this point, this is more of like a feature photo than like a full-on body car picture. You know what I mean? Like at this point, they might as well just zoomed in on the headlight and only see the headlight. Moving on to RQ48. Really boring picture as well. You know, zoom, the crop isn't very good, the quality isn't very high, so the TVR Goose takes it. RQ49 is going to be the Ford Edge. Now I gotta say, 49 has a lot of banger pictures, a lot of great pictures in 49. So the Ford Edge isn't even that bad. I love the motion, and I love the angle, and I love the positioning of the car. It fits it very well. But the main reason is you can't really see the front and the back. You know, a bit of the back is kinda, you know, obstructed. But honestly, it's not that bad of a picture. The main reason why the Ford Edge is the worst one, in my opinion, is because I think most of the RQ49s actually look pretty nice in their pictures. 50 is the Aston Martin V8 Zagato. Really boring background. I mean, this is a really beautiful car in real life, in my opinion. They could have done this car so much more justice, man. Moving on is the Volvo XC90, black, white, really boring background. Zoomed in as well, you can't see the entire car, so not a huge fan of it. Alright, I mean, this one, man, needs no introduction. 52 goes to the Subaru Tribeca. It's so ugly. It's way too ugly. You know what? What's funny is that if they zoomed out on the Tribeca a little bit, it would have been a pretty decent looking picture, actually, because, you know, it's a car in motion, and I like how the car is in its element. You know, it's a 4-wheel drive all-surface tire car, and it looks like it's kind of in an off-road, you know, countryside background. But the car itself, the Tribeca, is bloody disgusting. It had to take the cake. 53, man. Porsches are so beautiful, and this is one of the worst Porsche pictures ever. You can't see the front, you can't see the back, and it's just the saddest, you know, crop of this, because you can't even see the rear lights on the 911. It is just obstructed by the B in the card. Like, you just move the picture up a little bit and you'll be able to see a fraction, maybe some pixels of the rear light. Like, it's just so perfectly fits where you can't see the entire rear light of the 911. This thing is such a horrendous picture. It's a beautiful car, but a horrendous picture. RQ54 is going to go to the Infiniti Q45. Yeah, you can see the front, and that's about it. You can't even see the roof of the car. Like, this is a horrendous crop, and I do like the colors in this picture. The vibe is pretty cool. It looks really cool. Like, the feeling that you get from this picture, it looks like it's really cool. But once again, the quality isn't very high, and the zoom is just horrendous. The BMW M3 convertible is just a really boring picture in general. Black, white, black, white, black, white. That's about it, really. It looks like a render as well. 56 gonna go to the Maserati Spider Grand Sport. Really boring background. Couldn't have done a better crop, and it's the same thing for the Chrysler Imperial Concept. RQ58 is gonna go to the Subaru Legacy 2.5 GT. Once again, looks a little bit like a render, doesn't it? I don't know, man. Not an HD picture for a car that came from 2010, so no way was this picture older than, you know, from 2010. Maybe 2009 if they want to do like a promo picture or whatever, but honestly, not a good picture in my opinion. The quality is just really low. The Porsche came on. I see what they were trying to do over here. It's a really cool angle, but a really boring background, and you can't see the entire car. The Roof 3400S, once again, I see what they're trying to do. It could have been a really cool picture if they zoomed it out, but I just don't like just the amount of nothing in this. And I think one thing that really takes away from the Roof 3400S is the fact that they censored the car plate. It looks like it's censored. It looks like there's a car plate there. No way it's just white. But it looks like it was blocked or something. I don't know. But it looks like it's been edited, and it hasn't been edited very well, and the crop isn't very nice. RQ62 is going to be going to the Subaru Legacy Touring Wagon. The crop isn't very good, and the background is very boring, and it's the same thing for the 911. Actually, the 911 Carrera 4, it's even worse. The crop is even worse. The background is as boring as the Subaru, and the rims are disgusting on this bad boy. RQ64 is going to go to the Subaru Legacy, and as you can see, a lot of white backgrounds in here. I don't know why they want to do that. Look, if you're going to give a car a white background, at least make the crop look a little nicer, or maybe give it a black background. Black backgrounds actually look pretty nice as long as it's not two-tone. Porsche 911 Turbo as well, much like the Targa in the ultra rare category. They did this car so dirty, man. You can't see the front, you can't see the back, but at least you can see the rear lights in this. But the background is pretty boring as well. Not as bad. I do prefer black backgrounds over white backgrounds, but pretty boring picture, not gonna lie. Looks like a render as well. Fiat X19 Dallara, once again, it's a black and white picture. Now, you can do black and white pictures, but the crop here is just not good enough. 67 is going to go to the Spiker C8 Spider. Looks like a model car, or maybe a computer render on like a Microsoft, I don't know, 5. Is that even a thing? Like Vista? Microsoft Vista? I don't know, man. Like, this looks really, really old. I don't like it at all. Same thing for the C8. Both of these cars, really bad crops and boring backgrounds. None of them Carrera 4. Ugliest car for RQ69 in my opinion, which is a shame, once again. Porsche has a lot of ugly pictures, and it makes me really sad because they make really beautiful cars. 70 goes to the Roof RCT. Just don't like the crop in this one. Way too close. 71, the Subaru Impreza. It looks like it's way too high, and it looks like a render. I do love that rose gold / bronze rims though. Those are beautiful. Like, the spec on the car itself is beautiful, but everything about it is pretty bad. 74 is going to be the Lamborghini Gallardo. I think I skipped a couple. Yeah, 72 is the Bentley Continental Flying Spur. Really fat car. I don't really like the back design of this car either. At least it's in motion, but it's way too zoomed in. 73 is going to be the Spiker C8 Aileron. I like the background, to be fair. It gives it a really nice, edge, and I feel like the black background actually contrasts really well with the purple in the A for the epic category, but it's just the crop in this picture that just doesn't really fit. 74 was going to be the Lamborghini, but we talked about that. 75 is going to be the Infiniti FX Vitel Edition S51. I get that it's a big car, but they could have done a lot better with this, man. You can't really see anything besides like the headlight. Not even half of the logo or the car plate, like maybe 10% of the logo, and a wheel. It's a cool spec, but definitely way too big. Also, the picture just looks a little bit too low in my opinion. 76 is going to be the Donk D8-270RS. I love the reflection. If they just zoomed out on this picture, it would have been a really respectable photo. It has a background. I like the colors they pop out. The reflection's really cool, but just the crop doesn't do it justice. You basically can't see the entire front grille of the Donk Avort. 77 goes to the Bentley Sir Peter Blake. Just a meme of a car, really. Just a disgusting speck on a really ugly fat Bentley in itself. TVR Griffith, nice crop, but once again, look at 78s. 78s have some really nice pictures. So in the end, I just went for the one with the white background. 79 goes for the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. Just don't like the crop in this, man. Way too fat. I know it's a pretty wide car in itself, but come on, man. It's an SLR McLaren. They could have found a lot nicer pictures of this machine. 80 is going to go to the Roof Takara. The quality isn't very high, and also you can't see basically 30% or 20% of the back. 81 is going to go to the Bentley Continental Breitling. Once again, you can't see half of the car, and it's a really boring background. 82, the Lamborghini Huracan rear-wheel drive Spider. Once again, the crop is not very nice. And 83 goes to, in my opinion, the ugliest looking legendary card in the entire game in terms of card design and picture choice. The Bentley Continental Supersports Convertible ISR. What the hell is this? Seriously, what the hell is this? There's more white than car in here because the car itself is white. You know what I mean? Like, it's so boring. The spec of the car is pretty cool. If this was the back, if it had a black background picture, but the car remained white with the red trim, that would be pretty cool, I would say. But yeah, man, this is just a disgusting picture. It doesn't even look like a real car. It looks like a computer render, and it's not even HD. Really, really sad. 84 is going to be the Acura DNX. I like the red and the black, but the quality of the image isn't very high, and the crop isn't very good, and the car itself is very ugly. 85, the Lamborghini Murcielago. I like to call this car the flounder car. The picture reminds me of a flounder. The thing about the Lamborghini Murcielago is that it's a very flat looking car in terms of design. There's not a lot going on in the front, and it does look pretty nice at different angles, but this angle doesn't really do it justice, especially since you only see the front and you can't even see the entire car. If they cropped the car out like, you know, the 275 Trophy Megane, that would have been pretty cool. But this just reminds me of a flounder. Okay, you probably can't unsee it now. It's just a flat looking car with two big eyes, just like a flounder. 86 is going to be the Lamborghini Gallardo. You know, once again, the quality of the image isn't very high. It's a very boring picture as well. All I see is white. Then we have the Lamborghini Murcielago LP640. Pretty decent angle, but that's about it, man. The crop is horrendous. I can't see a single light. I can't see the back. Really, really sad. 88 is going to go to the Nissan R381. Pretty boring picture, I would say. There's some really... So this one, I would say, would have done justice if you did a black and white photo, I would say. Because it would really be a narrative of its time. But you need to do it right. You know, when you choose a black and white picture, you need to do it right. You can't be like the Bentley, and you can't see the front and the back. But if it was like maybe a racing image, you know, from the racetrack, black and white, you know, a picture straight taken from its time when it was on the racetrack back in the 60s, that would have been sick. But this is just kind of boring. And that's the other thing, you know, when it comes to race cars, you kind of want them in motion. They're race cars. You want to see them go zoom. The Lamborghini Gallardo LP560, a pretty boring picture as well, black and white. And then we have the Koenigsegg CCXR. RQ90s had a bit of banger pictures, so this was the most boring one, I would say. The crop isn't bad, and the picture isn't that bad either, but like I said, RQ90s had some pretty banging pictures. I could have chosen the Project 8 for the meme, but like, I'm not gonna be that mad. The Koenigsegg CCXR Trivetta, this is definitely the worst Koenigsegg picture, in my opinion. It's kind of like the Bentley picture, but like taken from a different angle, so you can see like it doesn't look 2D at least, but still pretty horrendous picture. 92. Wow, a lot of Lamborghinis in here have some really horrendous pictures, don't they? You can't see the entire car. Spec is cool, but the background is boring. Roof Turbo Florio takes RQ93. Once again, I want to see a lot more of this car. The Roof Turbo Florio in real life is actually a really nice looking car in my opinion, and this picture doesn't do it justice. 94 is going to be the Lamborghini Huracan Coupe. Now we're going to see some pretty nice pictures, I would say. I'm just choosing the worst of the competition at this point. 95 is the Bentley EXP. I like the fact that you can see the inside of it. It's quite unique in a sense, but once again, I've done my research on the Bentley EXP. There are a lot of pretty nice EXP pictures out there, and Hutch had to choose one of the ugliest ones. Honestly, if it was, you know, taken in a showroom like the Aventador J, that would be pretty cool, and then maybe in some way you could find an angle where you can see the interior as well. But this one, just pretty boring. There are a lot of nice RQ95 pictures, to be fair. So, and a 96 is gonna be the Lamborghini Aventador S. Now, some reason this picture looks a bit warped. Don't you think? Like, it looks a bit warped. It looks a bit bent. Like, the front of the car looks a bit bendy. I don't know. Like, the proportions in this picture just doesn't seem very correct. It just doesn't seem right. It looks squished, or it looks morphed, or it looks bent, or warped, or whatever. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't fit right with me. 97, Koenigsegg Jesko Attack. Really, really sad that one of the coolest cars and one of the fastest cars and one of the most anticipated prize cars in the game is given the ugly treatment. This is definitely a computer render. Not a nice looking computer render. Really boring background as well, and it's a really bad crop. Once again, like the Lamborghini, it really looks like the car is warped in a sense. Like, the proportions of it doesn't seem right. 98, the roof RTR. Crop isn't the best thing in the world, but to be honest, this isn't a bad picture. It's just that most of the RQ98s in the game have decent pictures. 99 is going to be the Peugeot 905B. The only thing that does this picture some justice is the reflection. And last but not least, it's going to be the Porsche 918 Spider. The ugliest RQ100 in my opinion. I don't like the picture. I don't like the crop. I don't like the positioning. In real life, this is one of the nicest Porsches ever made. And this picture just didn't do it justice. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Nice little fun video. Once again, it's all my opinion, but this is RQ10-100, the ugliest pictures in the game. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace!